नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम 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 नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
So we are reading from Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 6, Puruṣa-sūkta confirmed. We're reaching towards the end of the chapter, text numbers 43 to 45. Aham bhavo yagna ime prajesha. Dakshadayo ye bhavatadayascha.
दक्षादयो ये भवदादयश्च।
Swarlokapale kagalokapala.
स्वर्लोकपाला खगलोकपाला।
Nalokapala stalalokapale.
नरलोकपाला स्थललोकपाला।
Gandharva vidyadhar charanesha. Ye aksharaksho raganaganatha. Ye varshīnām rishibhā pitranām. Daityendra siddheshvara danavendra. Anne chayai preta pisacha bhuta. Kushmandayado mrigapakshi adiksha. Yatkincha loke bhagavan mahaswad. Oja sahaswad palavat shamavat. Shri vibhuti atmavad adbhutarnam. Shri vibhutatmavad adbhutarnam. Tattvam param rupavad asvarupam. We can probably recite the third verse one more time. Anye chaye preta pishacha bhuta. Kushmandayado mrigapakshi adiksha. Yatkincha loke bhagavan mahaswad. Oja sahaswad balavat shamavat. Shri vibhutatmavad putarnam. Tattvam param rupavadasvarupam. Would anyone like to recite the third verse from this one?
अन्ये च ये प्रेत पिशाच भूता।
Anye chaye preta pishacha bhuta.
कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्षधीशा।
Kushmandayado mrigapakshi adisha.
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवन् महस्वत्।
Yatkincha loke bhagavan mahaswad.
ओजः सहस्वत् बलवत् क्षमावत्। श्री विभूत्यात्मवत् अद्भुतार्णम्। तत्त्वं परं रूपवदस्वरूपम्।
Tattvam param rupavadasvarupam.
च भूता
अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाच भूता
कुसुमण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा
कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महास्वः
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महास्वः
ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत्
ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत्
श्रीः विभूति आत्मवाद अद्भुतर्णम्
श्रीविभूति आत्मवान्
तत्त्वं परं रूपवत् अस्वं रूपम्
तत्त्वं परं रूपस्वरूपम् अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाच भूता कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महास्वः ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत् श्रीविभूता
तत्त्वं परं रूपवतस्वरूपम्
तत्त्वं परं रूपवदस्वरूपम् Mataji.
अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाच भूता
अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाच भूता
कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा
कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महास्वः
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महास्वः
ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत्
ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत्
श्रीविभूत्यात्मवादद्भुतारणम्
श्रीविभूति आत्मवान्
तत्त्वं परं रूपवदस्वरूपम्
तत्त्वं परं रूपवदस्वरूपम्
अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाच भूता
अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाच भूता
कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा
कुष्माण्डयादो मृगपक्ष्यदिशा
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवन् महस्वः
यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महास्वः
ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत्
ओजस्वद्बलवत् क्षमावत्
श्रीविभूत्यात्मवदद्भुतारणम्
श्रीविभूत्यात्मवदद्भुतारणम्
तत्त्वं परं रूपवदस्वरूपम्
तत्त्वं परं रूपवदस्वरूपम्. Synonyms: Aham, myself, Brahmaji, Bhava, Lord Shiva, Yagna, Lord Vishnu, Ime, all these, Praja Ishaha, the father of the living beings, Daksha Adya, Daksha, Marichi, Manu, etc. Ye, those, Bhavat, yourself, Adhayacha, and the bachelors, Sanat Kumara and his brothers, Svarloka Palaha, the leaders of the heavenly planets, Kagaloka Palaha, the leaders of space travelers, Narloka Palaha, the leaders of mankind, Kalaloka Palaha, the leaders of the lower planets, Gandharva, the residents of Gandharva Loka, Vidyadhar, the residents of the Vidyadhar planet, Charana Ishaha, the leaders of the Charanas, Ye, as also others. Yaksha, the leader of the Yakshas. Raksha, demons. Ugraha, Uraga, snakes. Naganataha, the leaders of Nagloka, below the earth. Ye, others. Va, also. Rishina, of the sages. Rishabha, this chief. Pitranam, of the forefathers. Daitya Indra, leaders of the atheists. Siddha Ishvara, leaders of the Siddhaloka planets. Spacemen. Danava Indra, leaders of the non-Aryans. Anya, besides them. Cha, also. Ye, those. Preta, dead bodies. Pishacha, evil spirits. Bhuta, jinn. Kushmanda, a special type of evil spirit. Yaga, aquatics. Mriga, animals. Pakshya Diksha, giant eagles. Yat, anything. Kimcha, and everything. Loke, in the world. Bhagavat, possessed of Bhaga, or extraordinary power. Mahashvat, of a special degree. Oja Sahashvat, specific mental and sensual dexterity. Balavat, possessed of strength. Shamavat, possessed of forgiveness. Shri, beauty. Re, ashamed of impious acts. Vibhuti, witches. Atmavat, possessed of intelligence. Adbhut, wonderful. Arnam, grace. Tattvam, specific truth. Param, transcendental. Rupavat, as of the form of Ashwarupam, not the form of the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourselves, Narada and the Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Buraloka planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leader of the Gandharva planets, the leaders of the Vidyadhar planets, the leaders of Chandraloka planets, the leaders of the Yakshas, Rakshas and Uragas, the great sages, the great demons, the great atheists, and the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, satans, jinn, kushumandas, great aquatics, great beasts, and great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perpetual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord. Perfect. Those in the list given above, beginning from the name Brahmaji, the first living creature within the universe, down to Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Narada, and other powerful demigods, men, supermen, sages, rishis, and other lower creatures of extraordinary strength and opulence, including the dead bodies, satans, evil spirits, jinn, aquatics, birds and beasts, may appear to be the Supreme Lord. But factually, none of them is the Supreme Lord. Every one of them possesses only a fragment of the great potencies of the Supreme Lord. The less intelligent man is surprised to see the wonderful actions of material phenomena, as the aborigines are fearful of a great thunderbolt, a great and gigantic banyan tree, or a great lofty mountain in the jungle. For such undeveloped human beings, merely the slight display of Lord's potency is captivating. A still more advanced person is captivated by the powers of demigods and goddesses. Therefore, those who are simply astonished by the powers of anything in the creation of the Lord, without any factual information of the Lord Himself, are known as Shaktas or worshippers of the great powers. The modern scientist is also captivated by the wonderful actions and reactions of natural phenomena and therefore is also a Shakta. These lower grade persons gradually rise to become Shauryas, worshippers, Suryas, worshippers of the sun god, or Ganapatyas, worshippers of the mass of people as Janata Janardana or Dalitra Narayana, etc. in the form of Ganpati. And then rise to the platform of worshipping Lord Shiva in search for everlasting soul, and then to the stage of worshipping Lord Vishnu, the super soul, etc. without any information of Govinda, Lord Krishna, who is the original Vishnu. In other words, some are worshippers of race, nationality, birds, beasts, evil, spirits, satans, etc. The general worship of Shanidev, the lord of distressful condition, and Shitala Devi, the goddess of smallpox, is also common to the mass of people. And there are many foolish men who worship the mass of people or the poor class of men. So different persons, societies and communities, etc. worship some of the potent manifestations of the Lord, wrongly accepting the powerful object as God. But in this verse, it is advised by Brahmaji that none of them is the Supreme Lord. They are only borrowed plumes from the original Almighty Lord Sri Krishna. When the Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita to worship Him alone, it is to be understood that worshipping Lord Krishna includes worshipping all that is mentioned, because He, Lord Krishna, includes everyone. When the Lord is described as formless in the Vedic literatures, it is to be understood that all these forms mentioned above, within the experience of universal knowledge, are different exhibitions of the Lord's transcendental potencies only, and none of them factually represents the transcendental form of the Lord. But when the Lord actually descends to the earth, or anywhere within the universe, the less intelligent class of men also mistake Him to be one of them, and thus they imagine the transcendence to be formless or impersonal. Factually, the Lord is not formless, nor does He belong to any of the multi-forms experienced within the universal forms. One should try to know the truth about the Lord by following the instruction of Brahmaji. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we can see it's a long purport, 3 shlokas, we're doing it together, and very long sentences Srila Prabhupada has given in this. Like, you can keep on reading and you have to take a few breaths in between, right? As a teacher, that's the first thing I noticed. Pretty long sentences, run-on sentences is what we call it. But Srila Prabhupada could do that. He could create effective long sentences, like Srila Prabhupada. So Brahma, who is the first created being, the engineer of the universe, if anyone could claim power or divinity, it is Brahma, because he's actually created everything. But even he is mentioning a few facts in this particular verse, in this particular chapter. He humbly declares that Brahma lists so many extraordinary living beings. And then he humbly says that this is nothing but a fragment of the transcendental potency of Lord Sri Krishna. He lists all these people, all these divinities, all these special personalities, because each one of them have special powers. And it is very easy to mistake these people, these divine personalities, as the supreme powerful. It is very easy to mistake them for that. And the word that has been mentioned 7 times in the purport is power or powerful. So this verse is describing all about who is the most powerful. It's not this, it's not that, it's not, so many people have been described, aquatics, they have described each and every aspect of the universe, and then they have come to the point of who is most powerful. And why is it, I was thinking, why is it important to discuss who is most powerful? So I was doing some research, and it says that psychologists tell that humans are wired to be drawn to power. Humans naturally get attracted to power. Evolution, social hierarchies, status, and even simple admiration makes us notice these special, strong, charismatic people. Have we seen that? Even amongst devotees, we'll notice the one who's powerful, who's stronger. It is a very natural phenomena because humans are wired to be attracted in that way. And that's why it's very important to discuss who is most powerful. Because as humans, we have the tendency, oh, this one is doing this, so I'm going to be attracted to that particular person because they draw attention. So Brahma over here, Lord Brahma is clarifying that all of them possess only a tiny fragment of the power of the Supreme Lord. And to understand this even better, we must appreciate some of the personalities that have been listed here. I won't be going through the entire list because it's quite an exhaustive list. But let's take for example someone whom we don't discuss normally, like Daksha and Prajapatis. What is their function? What are they responsible for? They're responsible for populating the universe. So they can generate entire species of living beings, which includes humans, animals, trees, everybody. And then it also includes celestial beings. So Dakshas and Prajapatis are responsible for that particular function. Imagine the power to generate the entire population. Yet they received their creative function, the creative potency from Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma receives his power from Krishna himself. The other one mentioned is the four Kumaras. They are advanced sages. They have got vast spiritual knowledge. They have got freedom from the material influence. They always remain young, they are youthful. They are able to travel across universes. Yet they are devotees of the Supreme Lord. So this verse teaches us an important spiritual vision. That we don't have to stop at something that we see at the manifestation level. We must look at what is the source of everything. And the moment we start to look at what is the source of each and everything, then we will realize that Krishna is the most powerful. So anything that we are drawn to, anything that we are attracted to, we must go back, and then we must, as we keep going back, we'll reach the source of that particular thing, and then we'll appreciate Krishna even more. That is a good exercise to do. We see this iPad, we go back, who's the manufacturer? Okay, this particular company. Then we keep going back, and then we'll come to the power of mind. But who has given us that mind? Again, the source of everything is Lord Krishna. But on the surface level, humans get attracted to so many things, right? Wealth. Someone is really wealthy, we get attracted to that person. Beauty. She's the most beautiful person in the world. And we're naturally drawn to that beauty. Even Srila Prabhupada, one time when he was in the flight, there was a very beautiful air hostess. And Srila Prabhupada was seated with a brahmachari next to him. And he looked at her. Right? It is very natural to look at someone who's very beautiful. Srila Prabhupada even looked at her. And then he said, isn't she very beautiful? And the brahmachari who was with him said, yes, she's very beautiful. And he was astonished that Srila Prabhupada is saying that. Then Srila Prabhupada said, this beauty comes from Krishna. So if we go to the source of everything, then we'll recognize and realize who is most powerful. The other one is intelligence. A lot of people get attracted to someone who's really intelligent. But let's step into the modern world for a moment, right? How intelligent we think we are. Let's take, for example, superheroes. Spider-Man, Iron Man, Wonder Woman. These are all characters that, directors have created. It's a script. It's not even a real person. Superman can fly, lift massive buildings. Iron Man he can put on his suit and he can do wonderful things. Thor can pick up his hammer and most of the times can control lightning. So from a human perspective, these powers are unimaginable, right? None of us can do any of those things, what Superman does, Thor does, or Iron Man does. So these are powers that ordinary human beings cannot even dream of. But Superman is vulnerable to kryptonite. Iron Man has to wear a suit for his functions to work. Thor cannot act without his hammer most of the times. So even these superheroes which are created by human imaginations are not all powerful. Even they have limits. Right? Even they have limitations. They can't create life. None of them are able to control the weather fully without the hammer. Or someone love someone else. So they cannot do any of those things. So there are limitations. So their strength is finite. Their strength is finite. So Bhagavatam says, anything that appears wonderful, exceptional, like demigods, sages, even great humans, is only a fragment of Krishna's potency. And we must always remember that. Superheroes that are made up of our own minds. It is just a playful reminder that even human imagination is limited. It doesn't go beyond a particular thing. Right? Since we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to skip a few things. Okay, in ancient times, people worshipped thunderstorms, thunder, mountains, sun, rivers, and these days, what do people worship? Anyone who is not a devotee, what do they worship? Nature, money, technology, alcohol, yes, intoxication. Actually, that reminds me with intoxication. There was a concept of booze yoga. I don't know if you have seen posters floating around. Booze yoga. Yeah. So beer, alcohol yoga, right? So you can take your own alcohol and you can keep doing yoga, right? So I discussed this in my school with my colleagues. They know that we are into bhakti yoga. And I told them, where is world heading? There is booze yoga. And I thought everyone will be like, oh no, this is not good. Each one of them reacted, wow, that is amazing. Booze yoga? That is what will make me do yoga in life. Obviously, they're talking about hatha yoga. But the mind is such that we are drawn to such things. We find these things powerful. For example, people are drawn to, boys are drawn to sports teams. Right? My son, he's drawn to Liverpool Soccer Club. What is the motto? You will never walk alone, is their motto. Since time immemorial, so they say. It is a beautiful sentiment of loyalty, right? You will never walk alone. But in reality, what's the point? You will never walk alone. Is that ever going to be true? That they will not walk alone? At birth we come alone. At death we are going to go alone. Many times in life we struggle all by ourselves, right? Again, I'm not talking about devotees. I'm talking about outsiders. Luckily for devotees, we have association of each other. But most of the people who come to the tune-in sessions, which is an outreach program, you will see that they are struggling with loneliness. They have no one to share their life with. And then Liverpool says you will never walk alone. Right? So, on a practical level, Liverpool cannot do this. But Krishna can do this. And Krishna is doing that. As Paramatma, He's seated in our hearts and is making sure that we never walk alone. Okay? So that is the difference between a sports team that we admire and appreciate versus Krishna, whom we should really appreciate, who is actually the most powerful, who can actually walk with each one of us individually, building independent relation with each one of us and giving us that love. Right? It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtani, which means the Supreme Lord resides in everyone's heart. So the real truth is, not a football club, not government, not even our families are going to be with us forever. It's Krishna who's going to be with us forever. And that's His power. Okay? One of my family members told me, you know who's my best friend? And I said, who? My mobile phone, they said. That's my best friend, never leaves me. Mind you, there is not electricity one day that mobile phone is going to leave you because your mobile phone is not going to operate. Right? We are not getting into what the mobile phone gives you anyways. But without electricity, even nothing functions. So even the mobile phone is dependent on electricity. Then if you go backward, reach to the source, Krishna is the most powerful. So you take any situation, okay? For example, a TikTok video. One day we'll say overnight there is a sensation that happens. Silly video is posted and suddenly that person becomes the talk of the town. But within a week, that fade goes out. But Krishna never fades out. We can discuss Krishna forever. Srīmad has been discussing the qualities of Krishna and it is ever increasing. That is Krishna. He is the most powerful. Right? So if we don't worship, the point is, Brahmaji is discussing all these things. Because if we don't, humans have a tendency to worship someone. If we don't worship Krishna, we are definitely going to worship something else. We may not call it worship, we may call it something else. Like my favorite team is this or whatever that is. But in a way that is worship, the way cricket is worshipped in India. Because that is again the inherent nature of human to worship someone higher than you. To worship someone who is better than you. And there is a famous quotation which says, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. So there are many philosophers who acknowledge this fact. Right? And what lies again within us is Krishna. In September 1976, Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. And that time a circus magician happened to come to the temple in Krishna Balram Mandir. And when he was there, he wanted to show all his tricks to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said yes. He agreed to it. He said okay. Within like 10-15 minutes, all the devotees, brahmacharis, everyone gathered to see the magic tricks. What's going to happen? But this magician comes there, he's doing different tricks, right? He gives Srila Prabhupada a coin, does some magic, and then asks Srila Prabhupada, open your palm, there's no coin in there. And everyone started clapping. And then Srila Prabhupada said, can you make the coin appear again? He said no. And then he started doing things with feather, putting a white feather in, and then the colorful feather come out, pulling out a coin from his ear. And Srila Prabhupada was smiling. He was just in the, having some fun in the moment. And after that, all his disciples who were around him, they were quite surprised that Srila Prabhupada is quite happy with the kind of illusions this magician is creating. But then, Srila Prabhupada suddenly became very grave. Right? He became very grave and he said, what about the miseries of life? Can you take that away? Is that possible for you to do that? To take away the miseries of life? Birth, death, old age and disease? The magician said, no, I cannot do that. So his skills were limited to the coin, appearing and disappearing. And then Srila Prabhupada gave a whole talk on, these miseries and what is the ultimate goal of life. So Srila Prabhupada, if we notice his mood, the way he could deal with any situation and bring it back to Krishna, it's amazing. He would get to the source of everything, and that's what we should be trying to do as well, getting to the source. I'm repeating that word because we often forget and we are drawn to the, not so natural things in life, but we must stick to that. So, and then towards the end, Srila Prabhupada gave that magician a garland that he was wearing, gave him some prasadam. So Srila Prabhupada is very compassionate. He didn't say what you're doing is rubbish. This is all the tricks of the mind. You're doing, no, I don't want to see this. This is Maya. He didn't say any of that. But he could bring magician to the point of understanding who Krishna is. Right? So that is Srila Prabhupada. He could preach. So everything powerful, if everything powerful in this world depends on something else, then what is the source of everything? That is what we have to work on. In Back to Godhead magazine, Srila Prabhupada had discussed there are two types of consciousness. One consciousness is limited and the other consciousness is unlimited. What is the difference? If I pinch, say, Nilima Mataji, she will understand I've pinched her. But if I pinch Nilima Mataji, Romina Mataji is not going to understand that I've pinched and how it hurts. So the consciousness is very much limited to the body of a person. That is limited consciousness, limited to the body. Unlimited is, when I pinch her, she recognizes it, but even the super soul will recognize the super soul even recognizes those pinches. And super soul also recognizes someone else's pain. That is when the consciousness is unlimited. I'll say what it is said in the Back to Godhead magazine to make it more clear. If I pinch your body, Krishna as Paramatma, the super soul feels that I'm pinching somebody. The other example that Srila Prabhupada gives is of big fire and its spark. The sparks are small, but the qualities are the same of a big fire. Same quality. A spark can burn a cloth as well. But we know that big fire is different and the spark is different. We can take a bottle of water from the ocean, same qualities as the ocean. But we know ocean is different from that bottle of water in terms of qualitatively they are same, but quantitatively they are very, very different. So we can see Krishna gives all these little powers to everybody. Even we have some powers. Even demigods have some powers, and so many listed over here. Everyone has some powers. So Krishna gives this creative powers, but all that power comes from Ishwar, God Himself. Right? So it is said in Shvetashvatra Upanishad, Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natad samshava chabyadiksha cha drishyate, parasya shakti vividaiva shuryate, swabhaviki jnana bala kriya cha. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do, and no one is found to be equal or greater than Him. For everything is done naturally and systematically. Naturally and systematically by His multifarious energies. See, Krishna doesn't even have to do anything. He is God. So if I want to paint a flower, or if I want to paint something, I need brushes, I need paints, I need time, I need everything, and then after maybe 6 months, 8 months, I'll have something ready. But Krishna doesn't have to do anything, and He can have millions of flowers just blooming just like that. That is Krishna. So, we know in Bhagavad Gita it is said that everything powerful in this world are nothing but a spark of my splendor, says Krishna. Right? My dakshina prakriti, which means material nature, works under my direction. So in Bhagavad Gita, again and again, they have been explaining these concepts to us. So everything, whether it's clouds, rain cycles, operate under the divine supervision of Krishna. Today, human beings are very proud of their scientific achievements, right? Cloud seeding. I was discussing with my sister who is in the Middle East. It was Ramadan going on. And during Ramadan, they especially do cloud seeding so that, because Middle East, it's very hot. So they do cloud seeding so that when people are fasting, there's a cool temperature maintained in the country. So they do go to that extent. But can humans create clouds? Can humans create water? We are just manipulating things a little bit in the nature. But nothing is created by human beings. Right? So we are not that powerful. Even Indra has the power to do that. Right? We go to Lakshmi, the goddess of Lakshmi, for wealth. We don't go to Saraswati for that. We go to Saraswati for knowledge. So every demigod also have their special powers. And they only operate within that. If we go and ask Saraswati for Lakshmi, it's not going to work. But Krishna, everything works. Right? Because He is the most powerful. Right? So over here towards the end of the purport, we can see they say that sometimes scriptures say that Krishna is formless. And I was intrigued by that. How is Krishna formless? So people misunderstand this, because formless does not mean God has no form. All it means is God is not limited by material forms. That's the only meaning of when we say Krishna is formless, that's what it means. So the form of Krishna is transcendental, not material like ours. And this is confirmed throughout Bhagavatam. We have already seen it at so many places in Canto 1, Canto 2, that Krishna is transcendental. And as we move towards the last paragraph, the purport says, when Supreme Lord appears within this world, less intelligent people think He is an ordinary person. Right? And this happened even when Krishna appeared on earth. Remember, some people saw Him as a coward boy. Some people saw Him as a prince. Some people saw Him as an enemy. Some people saw Him as a friend. Some saw Him as a politician. And in our own lives as well, sometimes we fall into that mentality. When a great spiritual teacher appears, because he looks human, very much human, we may start thinking, oh, he's just like us. Right? But the scriptures explain that a genuine spiritual master represents the Supreme. And he has the power to deliver us. In our cases, who has the power to deliver us? It is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has the power to deliver us. Because he appeared, externally he appeared as an elderly man. He appeared to be sitting with us. He appeared to be eating with the devotees. He appeared to be speaking in a very simple way. But what he accomplished is very extraordinary. At the age of 69, we all know he translated dozens of Vedic literature. He traveled across the world. He turned so many devotees. He made so many devotees. He introduced the teachings of Krishna globally. So from a spiritual perspective, this is not ordinary what Srila Prabhupada has done. He has done something extraordinary. But sometimes what happens is familiarity reduces the appreciation of the other persons. We may chant Srila Prabhupada Pranam Mantra every day. We may say Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. What does Jai mean? Jai means victory. We are saying that Srila Prabhupada, may your mission be victorious. Right? And for that, if we really appreciate Srila Prabhupada in that way, then we have to say, we have to participate in the victory of Srila Prabhupada by preaching. Right? Just yesterday, after Ram Navami, I was standing outside and Nilima Mataji was standing there. She just constantly was looking around, right? And when she's outside, she's always busy. I've seen, always busy. And then she's standing there and I stood next to her. She didn't speak anything for like 30-40 seconds. I was still there. Then she suddenly said, Hare Krishna, we haven't spoken for so long. And she started speaking. And I told her, would you like to have prasadam, Mataji? No, I'm waiting for the newcomers to come out because I want to speak to them. So she waited outside the door for the new people to come out so she can speak to them. And that is the mood of a devotee. I was so inspired to that. I was so inspired by that here is a person who is waiting outside that door because now people are going to start walking out. She's going to catch hold of a new face and she's going to speak to them. That is Srila Prabhupada's victory. That is amazing. Another example I was thinking was, every Mangala Aarti, who do we have? Krishnavi and Mataji, Monika Mataji's mother. Right? Inspired by both of them. Like, they are amazing. They attend Mangala Aarti, they stay for the whole program. And as a family, they are making some adjustments and sacrifices to be able to attend this morning program. And this is Srila Prabhupada's victory. So when we say Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, we are praying that the mission of Srila Prabhupada, that gets victory, and we must participate in that. That's when we are really appreciating Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, we are not appreciating Srila Prabhupada. It's only lip service. And we don't want to do lip service. Right? Once a disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, how do you want us to see you? And Srila Prabhupada responded, I am the servant of my Guru Maharaj. I am the servant of my Guru Maharaj. So, yes, we say that we are the servants of the servant of the servant all the time, but do we mean it? We say we love someone, but we want to love someone the way we want to love them. But the real love is to love them the way they want to be loved. That is real love. That is really serving. Serving something or someone, even in the kitchen, the way for example, if we go to the kitchen, if there is a head cook, we have to follow the direction. We have to serve the way they want us to serve. I know Lakshmi Mataji likes to clean it. Every second she's wiping the table. So then we have to get into that mood and follow that. And we have to serve the way she wants us to serve in the kitchen. Right? So, that is very important. That to love someone, to become a servant of someone. Not just saying it, but meaning it, but feeling it. And we must never forget Srila Prabhupada, right? I was just, drawn to something. I always get drawn to the way Srila Prabhupada has translated dozens of books, right? So many books, and I was comparing that to some of the other people who have done that. So I came across two names. Isaac Asimov, who wrote over 500 books in his lifetime, and Agatha Christie, who wrote over 60 novels, right? However, these authors, the difference is they wrote over many decades. This was the only thing they were doing. They worked in extremely stable environments. They were being fed. They didn't have to cook. They didn't have to travel. And they focused mainly at writing because that was their primary profession. They were a writer. But look at Srila Prabhupada. Right? He's a friend, philosopher, guide to thousands of people during that time. He was going outside every day. He was struggling in the beginning. He had no money. He was cooking, cleaning, serving, sleeping. He slept at 10, woke up at 1 to transcribe these books for us. It's humanly not possible to sleep for only 3 to 4 hours each day at that age and achieve what Srila Prabhupada has achieved. So we must always remember that. Obviously, Srila Prabhupada had the divine empowerment, but we cannot hide behind that. How did he get divine empowerment? He had the desires, and we must also desire to do something for our spiritual master. If we have a guru, that's great. If not Srila Prabhupada, our Shiksha gurus, follow in their footsteps, take instructions from them, and make them, write them in stone. Or write them, as my Guru Maharaj would say, put it on the fridge, or even Sakira Prabhu says, put it on the fridge. Right? Put it on the fridge, those instructions. They're special instructions. Right? So Brahma is teaching us 2 important lessons. Don't mistake powerful beings as Supreme Lord, but don't also mistake his representatives as ordinary beings. Right? Yes, they are not God. These people listed, they are not God, but they are very dear to God. And we must remember that. They are not the most powerful, but they are very dear to Sri Krishna. And we must appreciate them in that way. And we must always have we must not lack spiritual vision. Just be mindful of time. I'll skip a little bit. I'll come to the last sentence of the purport, because that's an important sentence. One should try to know the truth about the Lord by following the instruction of the Brahmaji. That is what Srila Prabhupada writes there. And in Bhagavad Gita it is said, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena, which means just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. So if we connect these 2 sentences, on one end Srila Prabhupada says, follow the instructions of Brahma. The other one is, try to approach a spiritual master to learn the truth. Right? So we can see a clear disciplic succession happening here. It started with Brahma, it goes to our spiritual masters. So we have to inquire from our spiritual master, submissively render service to him, and then learn the truth. Right? So just as Brahma was the first teacher and transmitter of Vedic knowledge, today we have His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has received unbroken disciplic succession from his spiritual master. And even us, we are a part of that disciplic succession. It's an unbroken one, and we are very much a part of that disciplic succession. And we must be very happy about that we are part of this parampara. Right? I thought I will just spend a few minutes on discussing one of Srila Prabhupada's disciple, who, because Srila Prabhupada could convey, we're talking about truth, and because Srila Prabhupada could speak the truth very boldly, a lot of people became his disciples. We would see, I was trying to think about all our spiritual masters, senior people, they never shy away from the truth. They never hide the truth. They'll just give you as it is. Obviously, with the world changing a lot, we are a bit more polished in our language, but the truth is nonetheless given to the person on the other end. And one such person who became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada was His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. Now Jayapataka Swami, we must know, whose Vyasa Puja is today, he was born in a very affluent family. He had everything, materially speaking, he had everything. And he was so intelligent that he belonged to the top 1% of the students who took American university admissions. He got scholarship in one of the Brown University, and he was studying there. And one time he happened to attend an Eastern philosophy lecture, which was on Buddhism, which spoke about Guru again. And then he started looking for a Guru desperately. He wanted a Guru. And he thought he'll go to India. And it so happened that between this lecture and between going to India, he happened to meet some of the devotees of Srila Prabhupada. And he joined them on at Rath Yatra in San Francisco. Now what touched him deeply, he said, is his own words. He said, the clarity of philosophy and the joy of the devotees. These two things touched him deeply. The clarity of philosophy and the joy of devotees. Everyone was happy. Until then, he had not met Srila Prabhupada. And he started serving. And then he met Srila Prabhupada. And when Srila Prabhupada started speaking, the moment he saw Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada spoke, he knew that he is my spiritual master. He is my guru. Because when Srila Prabhupada started to speak, everything started to make sense. The world started to make sense. Because Srila Prabhupada could speak the truth, the way it was very pleasing. The way the other person is going to take it. And then he went to Montreal to meet, in Montreal to meet Srila Prabhupada. He said during that time, he was into all the yogas and stuff like that. So he could see auras of people. I don't know if you know much about it, but people who are able to see auras of people, they see different colors around you. So Jayapataka Maharaj was able to do that. And around Srila Prabhupada, he could see white and yellow aura. It's a very rare aura to have. White signifies spirituality. Again, yellow signifies cleanliness and all of those things. It's very pure. These two colors are the topmost. So he could feel that. And the moment he saw Srila Prabhupada, that's the kind of colors he could see around Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada had lunch with him, gave him that warmth. He's very compassionate, Prabhupada. And then, not at that point in time, but later on, Srila Prabhupada gave him the instruction, go to India and help spread Krishna consciousness. And look at Jayapataka Maharaj today. He is the guru who's got the maximum number of disciples. More than 50,000 disciples. And mind you, when a guru initiates a disciple, he takes away all the karma of that disciple. And Jayapataka Maharaj is happily, with a smile, doing that, even in that condition. And what does Jayapataka Maharaj said? He famously says, preaching is my resting time. Preaching is my resting time. And when he was instructed to go to India and preach, during that time Mayapur was not the way it is now. There was nothing, there were no big temples, no roads, there was frequent flooding. Even now there are floods that frequently happen. And Jayapataka Maharaj stayed in a very simple hut of straws. Now he is a guy who's coming from America, living in a simple hut of straws where there are mosquitoes, you fall sick again and again, the water gets into the hut, you cannot sleep, there is no fan, it gets really hot in summer. And he lived in that condition because of that one instruction of Srila Prabhupada. And he gave his life to that mission of Srila Prabhupada. And today if we look at Mayapur, it is a major international spiritual center. Right? Now during the process, do you think Jayapataka Maharaj did not have to face any painful situation? Other than what he faced physically, there was a lot. His dad did not approve of what he was doing. His dad did not speak to him for 8 years. The dad disowned him. He said, I'm not owning you. You are not my son. And then his dad passed away in that situation. Jayapataka Maharaj came to know about it later because communication was a bit weak that time. But the priest who organized the ceremony of his dad said, I'll repeat it like it is because it gave me goosebumps. He said, the dad before leaving, he said, so he had many kids, the dad. So he said, I am most proud of my son, this son. And he acknowledged that he had done something meaningful in his life. So that particular dad was proud of Jayapataka Maharaj, of what he has done, what he was doing. So we can see that Krishna works through his devotees. He empowers us, he works through us. And he gives us some pain. But towards the end lies a beautiful, situation. There's always a happy ending. If we are in Krishna consciousness, there are always happy moments. There is always a happy ending. And if we don't see that or if we don't feel that, then we are not really practicing Krishna consciousness. If we are really practicing it, we must feel and we must appreciate these moments in our life. I guess I'll end here. It's 8:40. If you have any questions, comments, any sort of realizations, feel free to share them. Yes, Mataji.
Not the realization, but what you said something about you were standing beside Mataji and you didn't speak for 45 seconds. And then you realized that she was going to meet a new Mataji.
Yes.
I had an experience in the farm going back 2 years. And there was a new lady coming and just checking things out. And I said to her, let me get someone for you that knows the place so she can show you around. So I came up to this Mataji who was chanting at the time. And I said, Mata, there's a lady that wants to know the program and whatnot. And her answer to me was, sorry, but I'm finishing my hours. So I thought, then that, is it the rounds that are important or the person that's new coming to
Yes.
So I just left that and I don't know what happened.
Yes.
That's why I said it. Said it different.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes we all dress up like devotees. We have beads around our neck. But we're not really practicing Krishna consciousness. So that's my realization after that.
Yes.
So it's, we all look pretty, we all look with all this attire that we wear, but inside of us, we're not really practicing what we're preaching.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Actually, we miss the point a lot of times in our life. Even as devotees, we miss the point. We're just doing things, but we miss what the ultimate goal is. And Krishna at the time of death is not going to see at the things that how beautiful we are. He's not looking at that, right? He's looking at the change of heart that's happened. And at that point in time, if we are missing the boat by this much, Srila Prabhupada is going to intervene. He's going to be there for us. And they were really trying to make me devotees. The mercy element comes in. So I guess you're right, we miss the point a lot of times. But we must all, we must all we must all work towards it. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
You spoke about the power and the charisma.
Yeah.
One definition of charisma, what I've heard is that you need not be very attractive or anything like that. Charisma means the amount of care and the amount of love which you have in your heart for others. As in Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that the more hearts a Vaishnava touches, the higher his category is.
Yes.
Like that. So when we speak of someone who's charismatic, it's not that he's powerful, he's wealthy, influential, all that. No. How many people is he touching? How many people's
Yes.
hearts is he touching?
Yes.
And then how many people's lives is affecting?
Yeah.
Of course, what Mataji said. I'm also guilty of going through that situation sometimes. But then at the end of the day, when we think that there's so much to do, in our lives, both for others means new people, for our community, and within the community also a lot has to be done for individuals and then for ourselves. So obviously, different devotees will, give different priorities, different times.
Yes.
According to their situation.
Yes.
That also we must understand.
Yes.
As I was speaking in the class the other day, that when the pigeons are flying, they fly in, when they fly together, they fly in a V shape, right? And there's one head pigeon in the front, the leader, and there are pigeons at the back. And after some time, the leader in the front is going to get tired. So the pigeons at the back, they have to do two things. One is, they have to start packing and inspire the one in the front, or one of them have to go in the front and take the lead and give that leader a little break. So this is what happens many times with us also, that so much has to be done, and at the end of the day, we are all human beings. So we all get tired, but then there's no respite. Because, the focus is always on us. How is this guy behaving? What mistake does he make? We just experienced something very recently. As a community, we are doing quite nicely. What progress we made in the last 2-3 years is quite nice. But then someone went and told something to someone else, and people are just focusing on that. So that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that on a piece of white paper, if you put a black dot, everyone will see the black dot, no one will see the whole white paper. So we have to also understand that there are different nuances in people's lives.
Yes.
When we speak of charisma and we speak of power, Prabhupada and Krishna, they are like that. They are charismatic people. Why? Because they have got others' interests in their heart. Others' interests in their heart. Like that. So, we have to always try our best, but at the same time give benefit of doubt to others.
Yes.
Otherwise, if we keep on judging people on the situations, then we'll always be in trouble.
Yes.
So we have to, first thing I learned when I became a devotee after some time, that give the benefit of doubt to someone else. Normally people also do that, in normal life. Give benefit of doubt, okay, this must have happened. That's right.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say that a bit further on, same thing, giving benefit of doubt. For example, Nilima Mataji's example itself, right? She's not standing next to me, not wishing me, and I'm smiling at her. One aspect is, oh, she doesn't even smile at me. But a few seconds later, I got to know she's standing there for that reason. So just by giving that benefit of doubt, I think we are relieved. It's more for us, and we are not judging someone because we are no one to judge. That was just a thought that came to my mind when Prabhu was discussing, and I was just a little bit on what you said about focusing on one thing that's gone wrong. I've been thinking about it. It's human to make mistakes, right? And we are all human beings. Even at senior level, everyone's going to make some of the other mistakes is going to happen here or there because it's one of the tendencies, as it is said. But this is the closest we get to perfection, is what my realization is. There are no perfect human beings, but these seniors are the closest I can see perfection. I can witness perfection. Nothing gets better than that. So when we appreciate devotees like that, this is the closest it gets. Then, you start to appreciate that person more and more. Anyways, that's just...
Yesterday we had a seminar on conflict resolution with Prajvi Hariprabhu. And he spoke one very interesting thing. He said, have you heard the orange story? So, in the house there's only one orange left. And the brother and sister, they're both fighting over that orange. The brother wants it very badly and the sister wants it very badly. They both want the whole orange. And the parents come, what's the solution will we give? Cut it into half, right? Give half to one, give half to the other. But then he said, no, actually if you ask, the boy was asked, why do you want orange? He said, I'm just getting some flu, so I want vitamin C and I want the juice of orange. And they asked the girl, why do you want the orange? She says, I'm baking a cake for my friend and I want the orange peel. So if you ask the question, why, both of them will get 100%.
Yes.
Not 50%, not half. So the boy will get the orange juice and the girl will get the orange peel to make the cake. So they will both get this. So when in situations like that, when you ask why, it makes a big difference in the situation.
You know what would Neil Madhav say? He would say, I'm older, my tummy is bigger, I need a bigger piece of that orange.
Still, if you ask why, it will help.
Yes. Anyone else would like to share anything?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Prabhuji, in that example that you gave, if both of them want it for juice, If they both of their wives are for the Jews, how can we see that situation again?
50-50. Yeah, next best solution, yeah, obviously.
Or maybe yesterday they had a big glass of juice, one of them, so then we can give it to the other person. Depends on the situation.
Okay.
Whereas me, Bada says I'm older, bigger. Whatever. The whole point is that
Yes, we ask why.
have to ask why.
Yeah.
Why it is happening. Otherwise, we just presume.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the one part it started with Brahma is the one creator and then we descended on to Shiva and Vishnu. But to my understanding Krishna is Vishnu itself. So but we consider Krishna and the Supreme Personality.
Yes.
So can you explain that?
So Vishnu, okay, so Brahma creates, Shiva destroys. And then in between we have Vishnu who maintains, right? Because I was hearing to our class which said, maintenance is the toughest thing. Look at this temple, right? To start a temple is easy. To finish a temple, to demolish it is easy. What is the most hard thing? Maintenance. And that's why for maintenance we have Vishnu, who is an incarnation of Krishna. Because we need Krishna quite directly to do that. So tattva-wise, yes, they're not different in that way. But Krishna, Krishna is the sweetness personified. So Vishnu is an incarnation of Krishna who does these different roles, who has got this role to play. He's got that power to play. But then again, if you look at Vishnu's form, what is he holding? He's holding a disc. He's holding, he's got different stuff. What is Krishna holding? Krishna is holding just a flute. He's not holding anything else. Krishna holds just a flute.
In childhood, then he still had a Sudarshan.
No, that was only a one-off instance where he was showing his universal form. But otherwise, if you look at Krishna, he only holds a flute. And God really doesn't have to do anything himself, right? He is having fun as a child. There is a beautiful kirtan, Gopala, Nandalala. So if you look at different names, all he is doing is having fun. Krishna is having fun. He is, Ras Leela with gopis. He's playing with the cowherd boys. He is annoying his mother when he's young. He's having a flute. He has a flute and he's playing that. So his sweetness personified. He's God. And then he's got different people to do different things, different personalities. But Vishnu himself, because maintenance is most hard, he has got his incarnation who looks after that aspect. Does that help? Yeah, thank you.
Also, we read the sentence properly. It just says that all of these personalities may appear to be the Supreme Lord, but factually none of them is Supreme Lord. So it's, even Vishnu, even though he's appearing in the sentence here, but because Krishna is the Supreme, Vishnu is there, fine, but none of them is Supreme Lord. Krishna is the Supreme Personality. So if you read the sentence, it's a long sentence, as Sneha Bhakati said. It's very clear that the name is there, but the Supreme Lord is Krishna.
Yeah. Cool. Yes, Rovina Mataji.
Krishna, this one is experience for me because you mentioned about Prabhupada too is the global teaching. So I recently learning this harmonium, and because I can't preach all my karma friends because they're all working, so I started doing live on Facebook, singing this Harekrishna mantra and with harmony, and everyone what is that? What everyone questioned it, but as Prabhupada said, we don't need stars, we need moon. So
Yes.
of all one friend I have, there's one that questioned. So I went to visit her house and I said, I just saw your message that your question about this, what is Harekrishna. So I visit her and explained to her, and I said this, and she said to me, I noticed you never go any party anymore. You don't go to your karmic friends doing party like that. I said, because I follow the regulation. So I explained to her